Hi everyone, Amy here for Homebody with another installment of What the Body Knows. This month and in the next couple of videos, we're talking about the upper body, the relationship between our breathing muscle, the diaphragm, down at the base of the ribs, and how that affects our rib cage, our spine, and our arms. That includes our neck, it includes that relationship with the head. So all that is going to be participating when we're working with the upper body. Of course, it goes without saying, our core is always helping. So you can watch some of those videos from earlier in the series if you want to know more about the core. But today we are going to be working on mobilizing the spine via the diaphragm, the breathing muscle, and how to open up the rib cage and spine relationship as we mobilize the breath. So what you'll need are a couple of blocks if you have them. If you don't have blocks, then a chair or a stool, something that you can put weight on just for a moment. And then we need some kind of rolling accoutrement. Either you have a bolster, you might have a roller, an actual foam roller, or a rolled up yoga mat. So any three of these, if you don't have a yoga mat either, something that's kind of cushy you could roll up into a tube like this. We'll be pivoting over that with our ribs. So grab your props and find a quiet space and let's get to work. Begin by coming to stand with your feet underneath you, nice tall spine, and we'll put the hands on the lowest ribs that you can feel. And now as you inhale and exhale, try to focus your breath into your hands, feeling the movement of your diaphragm as it widens and narrows. The diaphragm is a pancake-shaped muscle that sits inside the rib cage. Its edges are attached to the inner surfaces of your bottom ribs. It pumps up and down to create space for breath to move in and to push the breath out, while the ribs expand and condense. So come with me by placing your hand right in front of your chest where the diaphragm is. As you inhale, feel the diaphragm flatten and use your hand to do so. And then as you exhale, feel a little doming of the palm. That's the diaphragm rising up. Try that on the other side, and as you're moving the one hand, feel how you're breathing into the other hand. Lower your hands down, and now as you take an inhale, raise your arms up. Exhale to lower them down. Can you visualize on your inhale the diaphragm pumping downward, and as you exhale, the arms moving down, the diaphragm moving up? So again, as you inhale, the arms move up, the diaphragm lowers, and as you exhale, the arms move down, the diaphragm lifts. We want to make sure that the ribs stay nice and open, front and back. We want to make sure we're not arching the back or pushing the ribs forward to lift the arms. If you feel a tightness in either direction, either pushing back or pushing forward, note that. And seeing if you can, again, expand front, back, sides against the ribs to move the arm. Now try just one arm as you rise up. Lift the side, the reaching of your arm giving you a stretch through the right side as you lift your left side. No collapsing here. Breathing. On the left side, same thing, reach your arm up. And as you find that lift, we're not going to collapse down on the other side, but we're also going to focus on breathing through the whole diaphragm here. Try that again on both sides, maybe a little faster. So finding the diaphragm getting side bent and spacious, and move your breath into those low ribs, finding that length along your side. Stretch your arms wide out to the sides and start to shift your rib cage from right to left. See if you can feel your diaphragm inside your rib cage gliding, noticing any sticky spots either in your back or in your sides. If you have any, you might notice your shoulders wanting to unlevel. We want to keep them on the same plane as we shift the ribs. This is really opening up the lower back here. And now bring your hands back to those low ribs and see if you can spiral around your spine. So we're not letting our spine shorten, condense, side bend, but we're imagining the bottom rib reaching toward the opposite hip bone as we turn around. Here it is from the back, feeling the opposite rib to hip. Seeing if you can keep the lift of your head and spine as you turn, and still breathe. Noticing if there's any desire to shift the ribs like we did earlier. We don't want to pull to the side. We want to keep the ribs revolving right on top of the pelvis. Shake it out now. And grab those blocks or the stool or chair if you have it. We're going to roll forward through the spine. So you just want something to catch you. Start standing and letting your head drop forward. See if you can allow your spine to round. You can bend your knees here. Try to round all the way through the rib spine and then the waist spine into your lower back. You want to make sure that you have hands resting on something, chair, blocks, or floor, just to feel balance. You'll let your head fall and take a nice deep breath. It's in this position that your diaphragm, still pumping up and down, is upside down now, along with the rest of you. This gives it some nice space. When you're ready, slowly start to roll your lower spine, then your waist, and then your rib spine, neck, and head. Coming back to stand. Now we're going to take ourselves down to the floor with our rolled accoutrement, whether that's your roller, your bolster, or your rolled up yoga mat or towel. And you're going to settle onto your back here, if this is okay. And you want to get your ribs on the roller about midway, and then you're going to tilt your pelvis back so that your back is long. From there, with hands behind the head, lengthen your ribs over your rolled up prop and then roll yourself back up. You want to keep the pressure of your ribs on your prop at all times and pivot up and over. Inhale as you go back. Exhale as you come curling forward. So let this be a nice opportunity to move your spine. We're going to keep those elbows in, not spreading wide. Let your head rest in your hands and move your rib cage very specifically, your rib cage and your upper spine. It should feel like a nice stretch here. Take this next one back. A nice breath, and then curling back in and up. You'll take it back, and this time we're going to side bend. So keeping your extension, you're going to side bend to the right and the left. It might be small, but you are shifting your head in one direction and your ribs in the other to create a little side bend or side reach like we did standing with one arm to the ceiling. Do that several times, trying to keep the head and neck heavy, your spine elongated and extended. And then you can come back to center and rotate your ribs to come back up. Now we're going to add a twist. So feeling that bottom rib to opposite hip, can you rotate? Stay rolled on the roller. And in that twist, rock back and forward. So we're adding rotation to spine extension and flexion. Hopefully it feels yummy. Now rolling back to center. Let's try the other side. Keeping your tipping ribs. You're gonna think of that left rib reaching to your right hip. And find that twist, rolling into your right ribs, and then rock back and forth, still keeping the lower back long so you're not arching and curling the lower spine. I'm going to do that a few times and come back to center. Then just lengthen in center, back over the roller. It should feel so good. Now you're going to roll over onto your side. We're going to set up so that we have the middle ribs draped over the roller. Knees are bent and hands behind the head. And we're doing these little side lifts. And this is about getting the ribs down into your prop and lifting your head up. And take little tiny pulses once you're up there, just a couple. And then you're going to lower that down and lengthen your arm and your foot away, breathing into that diaphragm again. Now take your fingers forward and your toes back. And then your fingers back and your toes forward. And then bring your arm and your leg underneath you. Bend them in and press yourself up to sitting. Let's do the whole thing on the other side. Bring your right ribs down onto the roller. Side bending. Hands will come behind the head and knees are bent. Now find a little push down into the roller that helps lift your head. And find your breath. Hold it up here and make little tiny pulses into that side bend before lengthening back over the roll. Stretch your arm and your leg. Deep breath here. You can reach the arm forward, leg back for kind of a different type of stretch. And then the arm can reach back, opening the shoulder. Foot coming forward. Continuing to breathe as you come back to center. Bend your arm and your leg in and coming up to sitting. We'll make our way back up to stand and just kind of check in. Take a few of these arm rises like we did in the very beginning. As you inhale, breathing down into the diaphragm. And exhaling, dropping the arms, and just shake it all out, your neck, your shoulders, your upper back and ribs, and hopefully you're feeling pretty good. And I thank you so much for joining me. Have a good day.